I've been asked a lot, how do you get digital content off of the 64 onto a real floppy disk? We're going to talk about that, file copying, and more. Stick around.
Let's go into the MonroeWorld.
It's pretty easy to copy a real floppy disk into a disk image on the C64. Just use Copy. It works on non-protected disks, and it's pretty quick and easy, but there's no way to go the other way. But it totally can be done using a disk copier. Now we're going to use something called Maverick. It's fast, it's efficient, it does a lot of good stuff. And we're going to move this content onto a floppy disk using this real 1571 drive in 1541 mode. So we're going to run Maverick, the disk image. I'll leave a link to the software in the description below. But it's not loading. How come? I tried to load it on disk A. Disk A is drive 8, and so is this physical drive. You can't have that. So if you're going to load Maverick, which will only load off of a drive 8, you're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place here, right? So we can't do it that way. So we're going to have to unplug our drive. So now drive 8 is off the chain, and we are now able to load Maverick. So let's get Maverick loaded up here. Once again, we'll give it a try. There she goes. All right, now it's under Jiffy DOS right now, so it's really, really fast loading. I'll clip some of the stuff off anyway, just to make it a little quicker. But thanks to Jiffy DOS, we're going to get to Maverick really fast. Now, there's a whole bunch of options available. You're really only going to be looking at fast data copier for almost 99.9% of your stuff. We're going to use dual 1541. There's a lot of options here. Just assume B. We're going to do a dual 1541 copy. Now remember, we're loading Maverick off of drive 8 internally off of a virtual disk image, right? That's drive 8. This is also going to be drive 8, so we're going to have to do some shenanigans here. So let's turn off drive A, which is 8, okay? And now we can plug this back in, and the floppy drive will once again be drive 8, and there'll be no interference. Now, what we want to do, though, is move some content from a virtual disk image. In this case, we're going to use Frogger. We're going to mount this not on the A drive, but on B, which will be drive 9. So now there's no conflict, right? So B is drive 9. This is drive 8. This will be drive 9. Everything should work out fine. So we've mounted it. Great. Of course, mounting it might not be enough. You may still have to turn on drive B. It was off. Turn it on. Okay. So now drive B, or 9, has the game in it that we want, Frogger. Drive 8 is the physical drive right there, right? I just tried to get a directory listing, and it can't see it. But now I'm going to get a directory listing from 9, and there is Frogger. Perfect. So we got everything aligned. So now we're ready to put a disk in. All right, and we need to change the source to 9, the internal drive, right? Because that's where the disk image is that we want to copy to the physical drive 8. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. All right, and we go. Now it says it's not write protected. You could actually mount that disk in read-only mode if you were concerned, but whatever. All right, so now drive 9 is copying to drive 8. Drive 9 is Frogger, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, and copy's complete. Sweet. So now we trust but verify. Where's our directory listing? Yes, Frogger. And the directory listing on the disk? Frogger. Yes, we have successfully transferred a D64 over to a real 1541 diskette. All right, great. So we're going to turn off drive 8, and then we're going to reset the Commodore 64. So now the only drive 8 is our physical 1541. Well, it's a 1571, but it's in 1541 mode. Now we load. Oh, there it is. It's loading off the disk. Great. Why is it so slow? We have Jiffy DOS, damn it. Oh, well, because Jiffy DOS doesn't work on hardware like this. You would have to have Jiffy DOS ROMs inside the drive. That's okay. Let's come up with a different solution. Let's mount some fast loader like Action Replay. That will restore some fast drive access so we don't have to suffer when we're using a physical drive. All right, there we go. Action Replay, install fast load. Nice. Now let's try loading Frogger again. It was actually faster to stop the load, go in and make all those changes, and then reload the game. It actually loaded faster. And there she is. Frogger works. So we are successful. Now, all that hokey pokey we just had to do was because Maverick is on a virtual disk inside the 64. If it was on a floppy disk, we could have avoided a whole lot of that nonsense, right? So I'm going to write a copy of Maverick onto a floppy disk using the same technique we just did for Frogger. So we're going to let this thing finish up, and when I'm done, I no longer have to unplug that drive in order to get Maverick up, right? So we're going to turn off drive 9, make sure that's off. All right, get out of here, reset. All right, so now we should have Maverick on a real floppy disk. I can load it as .8, .1 without having to unplug the drive and use the virtual version. Let's see how we do. It should work just dandy. There we go, Maverick. I'm going to cut the load time, and we're back. Sweet. So now we can boot Maverick off of a floppy disk, not have to pull the plug or do any sort of nonsense like that. But while this fast data copier works for almost anything, you may end up having to use this GCR nibble copier from time to time. If you write an image and the game won't boot, try using that instead. How about file copying? Yes, this has a quick file copier, and this is actually pretty cool. Let's say you want to copy files off of a D64 disk image in the Commodore 64, and you want to write it to a real disk. So you want to file copy between a virtual disk and a real floppy disk. Well, that's what this quick file copier is going to do. Now remember, we don't have any hokey pokey going on. So we have a source and a destination. All right, great. We're going to format the destination, which is drive 8. And that way we can actually do some file copies on it, because God only knows what was on this disk before. I think it was Frogger, but magic of nonlinear editing. Okay, the disk is formatted, so it's a regular old disk now. Let's go turn on drive 9, or B. And drive 9, we're going to put a music disc in, my Quantum Link music disc, of which I have a SID player and a whole bunch of SID music. All right, so I want to move some of these onto a real floppy disk. So I'm going to mount this in drive B or drive 9, right? So drive B is drive 9. So now it's 9. And of course, the floppy disk here, the 1541, is drive 8. So let's make some changes here. So let's change source drive to 9, and our destination drive will remain drive 8. Perfect. So that's what we really want to do. All right, looks good, looks good. So let's go ahead and do a file copy. Let's see how this works. All right, so it's reading the source directory. Yep, there it is, SID player, Airwolf, Back to the Future. Let's tag a whole bunch of these at random. Dun, 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 and copy. All right, so now it's actually reading the files into memory. This is so cool, look at this. It's like a magic bar graph. Okay, so it's reading them in. Of course, the first file was the SID player. The rest of them are music files, so it makes sense, the sizes. All right, so it's done reading. Now it's going to write to the disk. There it is. It's writing to the disk. All right, writing SID player. All right. Oh, look at that. They're going down too. Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Entertainer. Yeah, this is really cool. This is a neat file copier. At least it's halfway entertaining. And it's going to write the block allocation maps. All right, there. So now let's take a look. There's our full directory list of drive 9. And now we're going to look at the directory of drive 8. Yes, just the files that we selected. All right, that looks good. Now we need to test it, right? So we'll reset everything. Remember, that's drive 8. We've still got Action Replay installed. Let's run it. Here we go. It should load SID player. Yes. Yes, and they're only the songs that I chose. So yeah, it worked. So that's how you do file copying from virtual to physical. All right, listen, I hope you like what we're doing here. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know what to do. I'm Shane Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.